I just recorded one of these videos on the newer brother of these, similarly sized, also three-way, the Philips Emotional Feedback Speaker MFB 544. These are the MFB 532. Very different beast, even though it's the same concept where there's a little piezoelectric unit measuring the excursion of this woofer and controlling the low end in order to allow it to produce more low end for a smaller cabinet without getting distorted and everything. And this is the only model that the designer was really behind. He thought that all of the others were pretty shit, actually. I see what he was talking about. These are honestly not bad. First, the things that stand out to me is that they have really good stereo imaging, which surprised me, and also they actually do as promised. They sound like a larger speaker, larger than its size. The only problem is they only sound like a larger speaker than its size if you compare it to similar sized or larger Philips speakers. They still sound like a Philips speaker in many aspects. Now I do like this mid-range unit. It doesn't get a lot of credit. It's actually pretty good. It sounds pretty aggressive, pretty upfront, but it has really nice definition. That tweeter is the least shitty of the bunch, I think. I still don't think it's great. This woofer is just a stiff, horrible sounding thing, but the emotional feedback system sort of makes up for that. So you do get something that sounds like a pretty good Philips speaker, but a Philips speaker nonetheless. So if you went for one this size, like they did back in the day, you would have probably had a similar sound with maybe a slightly less loose low end. Downside of this whole system is that the low end doesn't really match with the highs and the mids that well. There's a bit of a gap, but the low end that is there is pretty good for its size, for a Philips speaker, for a closed cabinet. But don't forget, these were more expensive back in the day and still second-hand than a pair of decent speakers and an amplifier, and you'd still need a preamplifier. Of course, the amplifier, the power amplifier is in it. They auto power off. This one should do that as well soon. So that sort of defeats the point, because in these days you also had the IMF Compact 2 speaker. You also had the Acoustic Research AR4AX, which is a smaller or slightly bigger, but not much bigger speaker that has way better low end, way better highs and way better mids. There is just no reason to end up with these. You're better off getting just a pair of good passive speakers with a nice amplifier, but the Dutch wanted Philips. So they bought Philips, and this sounded more impressive and in many ways actually better than many other Philips speakers from the 70s. Now, so I get why people bought these. I don't think they're that great. I think there's way better alternatives. What I don't get is why people bought these that you saw in the previous video, because they are just horrendous. They just make absolutely no sense in any way. And comparing these two, even though they're very similarly sized and I think similarly priced, it's just completely unrealistic, because these are genuinely among the worst speakers I've ever tested in this setup. These are somewhere in the middle. But with how much these things fetch now and how much people glorify them, they just don't make any sense. I still think, I don't know, Alexander, how much is a pair of 532s these days? Careful with the tripod.
I don't know.
Like 200?
Nah, more I think.
250.
It says Philips on them.
Yeah, that's
so
the
it
thing.
sells.
Yeah, so, well, it sells, if it's a specialty product, the cheap Philips speakers no one wants, but...
Yeah, true.
So, the 532s, say they fetch 200 euros, let's go for 200.
Yeah.
You can buy 4 pairs of one-bill Diamond 3s for that, which is, in every aspect except for the low end, the better speaker.
And the NADC 320.
Sorry?
And an NADC
And an NADC C320, which is a great amplifier, although this would be good enough and these are pretty much being given away. You can buy a pair of Acoustic Research AR4AX for that money and an NADC 320. There's so many alternatives that would just sound way better. That, yes, I get that people bought them back in the 70s, but if you still glorify these speakers in 2023, you just haven't heard very much. I don't hate those though. They have some charm. Those, I don't think you can see them anymore. Can you see them?
Nope.
Okay, these though, I mean, they're kind of cute. I get why you want, I get why you would keep them if you had them. Also, the design is just really cool with the logo on the top,
yeah,
and the little light that now went off because there's no sound, but we can make that power on again. There you go.
With the emotional feedback logo.
That's just really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, as a loudspeaker, not many redeeming qualities. But you know, a cute slice of time. So I accept these. They won't be trashed. We never
They're
trash.
mine anyway.
We never trash speakers anyway, not even shit ones.